Um, we started in Genesis last week, and it's so, and I kind of was praying through some things this week and understand that it's okay that we don't have all the answers. We don't, I mean, how can we even imagine how a word spoken could create the worlds and the earth and the sea and just a spoken word? That's the power of the word of Jesus, because he is the word. And so just his spoken word, we talked about that he is eternal, that there's no infinite, there's no beginning, there's no end. He is there, he was there from the beginning, and that there were created beings that were there as well, the angels around the throne. And we started out with the pre-existent Christ, that he is the word in the beginning. And Colossians says that everything was created by him and for him. That word spoken created all things. And so how that happened, I'm like Mary in how can this be? How can this be? And God's answer to her, with God all things are possible. We just have to trust him. We don't want to have an attitude like Job or Zacharias, where God has to come to you and say, gird up your loins, because I'm about to ask you some questions. We're not going to approach it in that manner, but questioning and asking questions out of just, wanting to know, out of just curiosity, it's just, I think it's a safe thing to do. And so with God, all things are possible. So we talked about the first 5 days, and how that spoken word, let there be light, on day 1. And we talked about, that's good, but there was no sun and there was no moon on day 1. So where was that light coming from? Who is the light? Jesus. Jesus is the light. He was that light, and that light and darkness were separated on day 1. Now, I wanted to talk about something that we didn't discuss. If I can find it, we didn't discuss last week, and there's 2 views of creation, main views. There's a lot of views, but on my blog, there's an old Earth view that says the Earth is 40 million years old, and that's okay, because there was gaps there, and that wasn't a literal day and night. And I don't know if y'all saw on Access North Georgia, but a meteor fell through somebody's house in Gainesville yesterday, and they're saying it's 20 million years older than Earth. Now let's just take a minute and ask.
Yesterday, and they're able to tell you that.
Yeah.
That was
Okay, let's just figure out who knows, who can. Come on, I don't buy it. But I have this on my blog. There's a chart, and just in summary, that old Earth view is that the Earth is 45 billion years old. That it wasn't literal days, and that there was death before Adam and Eve's fall. That's kind of the old Earth view. That's in a summary. Young Earth is that the Earth is about 6,000 years old. It was a literal day and night. It's aged based on Scripture and the fact Adam was this old, all the way to Jesus, very accurate, very accurate. And that death did not come until Adam and Eve fell. So that's a very quick summary. Also, dinosaurs lived on the earth with Adam and Eve. That is a young Earth view. The young Earth view says that dinosaurs were destroyed by the flood. So the pre-diluvian era, which is the pre-flood, the pre-diluvian, is that dinosaurs lived on the earth. So that's a middle-aged housewife view, and write all that in pencil. But I will say that we went to Baylor, Texas, and there is a Mammoth National Park or whatever it is, Mammoth. And you go in, and it's where they have dug up 20-something mammoths, you know, the hairy elephants. And they've determined now that they died all underwater. Well, yeah. And it has really a mom elephant or mammoth laying on top of her two babies. And they're down there with paintbrushes, you know, doing like that, you know. And it's in a building, and you can walk around and you can see all these mammoths that they've uncovered. And they're saying it had been a quick rush of water that caused that. So anyway, those are the two views of creation. And last week we talked about that. We talked about day 1, day 2, day 3. Day 4 was when the light came, the sun and the moon came on day 4. And day 5, God created the fish and the birds. So is there any questions about what we talked about last week? Did y'all go home and think about it, or try to forget
I
about it?
always thought about the dinosaurs. Always.
Well, there is, okay,
Because you know they were here.
they were here.
They were here because there's bones.
There's one situation, I'm going to just call it a situation, that has happened that they have now determined that dinosaurs aren't as old as we think they are. And I hope I say this right, but in 2005, there was a bone found that had tissue. Which lets them know that is not 45 billion years old, or ever how long dinosaurs were thought to be. I don't know. Who knows? Once you get up into the billions, it's kind of starts running together. But they found a bone that had tissue, and they're saying the only way that could have happened is it's only a couple of thousand years old, and it had to be in a airtight. There's no other. I mean, scientists are saying there's no way that tissue could be millions, billions years old, or whatever it is. So just keep that. If you've ever been, the Creation Museum is somewhere you need to go to. It's really good. So, any questions about day 1 through 5? So day 6, up until this point, God looks at his creation, and what does God say about his creation? It's good. Why should we take care of our earth?
Because it's God's creation, for one thing,
It's good.
and it's good, and it supports us, and
And
lots of
right.
reasons.
Right. Y'all, we don't, can you imagine, I don't even want to get into that, but anyway, how I've been all over the United States. I've been to every state except 5. This is the prettiest place in the whole United States and Europe. I've been to some places in Europe. This is the most beautiful place in the world to me. I love it. It's beautiful. I love trees. I love just wide up. You can go places in our area and you can actually see the stars. It's beautiful. So we ought to take care of the world, because God said when he created, it was good. So let's start in Genesis 1:26. And God said, "Let us make mankind in our image, according to our likeness." Who is us?
persons in the Trinity.
What all the same?
Through the three persons of the Trinity. Let us make man in our image.
God is three persons in one.
Just like we have a flesh, we have a soul, and we have a spirit. We have a will, we have a mind, we have character, we can love, we can make decisions. All of these things are how we are created in God's image. And then he said, let them rule over the fish, the birds, and livestock over the earth, and every crawling thing that crawls on the earth. We are to rule. God gave us dominion over the whole world and his whole creation. That's another reason why we should take care of it, Vicki. Is because we've been given an order to rule over it. We are to be caretakers of what God has created. We are not to be, it's not a big, trash heap. It's not, there are things that can happen on the earth that will change the earth. That's why we have to take care of it. God chose to make man in his own image. We are in him. We are, when you see us, you can see like a tiny replica of who he is, because we're created in his image. And it said that he breathed life into man when he created him. He didn't breathe life into the animals, the fish, the birds. They are living creatures, but they don't have a spirit, a life, a breath like we have. We were given breath. We were given a spirit when it was breathed into man. And animals are great. They're wonderful. They're lovely. They're beautiful. We love them. We love to look at them. We love to eat them. We love to share a world with them. We want to take care of them. But we're given dominion over the animals. We are greater than an animal. We love them, but they're not eternal, saved beings. Are y'all okay with that? Okay. So let's look at Genesis 2, 8 through 17. I'm kind of skipping around a little bit, but not only did God say how he created man, he formed him. He didn't just speak him. He was formed out of the dirt. And the word Adam actually means of the dirt, of soil. Adam is not a proper name. Adam is who he is. He's dirt. And it just so happened that we call him Adam as a proper name, but he was from the dirt. And we know that in the account that he was created outside of the garden, and God took and he placed Adam in the garden. He was not created inside the garden. He was created outside and brought to the garden. So where is the garden? And I've searched the world over for the picture that I liked that would be easy. And there's two thoughts of where Eden might be. And if you paid attention in Mr. Smith's geography class in the 7th grade, you'll know that it is either in one of two places. We have, the rivers are named here, the Tigris, Euphrates rivers. They're named. It is a very exact place But it's either in Turkey or down in Iran or Iraq, one of two places. Because that's kind of where these rivers converge. Y'all remember the Fertile Crescent in Mesopotamia where life was known to have started? There's no dispute about that. Life was known to have started in this area. But you can see these rivers are mentioned in our account, that they are there's no dispute. He just didn't throw them in some random spot.
Where'd you say that southwest?
Which one?
Turkey, the one.
No, the bottom.
The bottom says
Iraq.
Southern Iraq.
You know
The
what
rivers
comes to
converge.
mind?
What?
Well, that's where all the sin started. And you know, we talked about that.
Yeah. They but he said that God in this area, because it's fertile, you got all this water, you got all these rivers, all these tributaries, very fertile. God planted a garden. And he placed the man in it, whom he had formed, and he said, work the garden. Work is not the curse. Work is not a result of the curse. God planted a garden and said, if you're gonna, he gave him every seed and every fruit to eat, and if you're gonna eat, you gotta work. That is a principle as old as time. If you're gonna eat, you've gotta work. God could have planted a garden and said, y'all get you out 2 lawn chairs and y'all sit here, and I'm going to just bring you every kind of fruit and every kind of plant you can imagine, and y'all can just help yourself. Even before they sinned, Adam had to work the garden. And there's nothing wrong with work. Work is what we're supposed to do. Now, as a result of the fall, unproductive, hindered work, that is the curse. So in Genesis 2 verse 9, it said that God caused every tree to grow that is pleasing to the sight and good for food. The tree of life was in the midst of the garden, and the tree of good and evil. One of the things that struck me here is that God called this good, but he had a tree that had good and evil. He had that evil there as a temptation for them, but yet he called it good. Having self-control, having the ability to choose God, to choose the way of the Lord, that's good. That is what he wants for us. So there's these 2 trees, and God says you can't eat from either one of these. Those 2 trees were planted, and they had every kind of food that was available, every kind of seed, everything they could think of, every plant. But what did they do? They chose the one that God said no. Any questions?
I don't want this to be taken the wrong way when I say this. I'm not questioning the Lord, and he knows that.
That's what yeah.
He has the ability to do whatever. He had the ability to make everything perfect, make everybody act right, make everything just
Fall right into line.
lawn chairs, March Garden Road, and he could have made us to never ever sin. Perfect. And when we came and were born, we were perfect. You just wonder, what am I missing? What am I not seeing through? It's not that I'm questioning it. It's just like, what were we supposed to do and gain and learn from? What was his purpose for not making it perfect for us? You know what I'm saying? not that I think that he should, you know, not that I question his will or how he, anything, just, was it the choice?
We were created perfect.
I'm
We
not-
were created in his image.
Are you
And
asking why we would allow sin?
No, I was just saying,
why would he give us the choice to sin? Why does he give us the choice to sin? And I think, I don't know the answer to that, but if you think about, if you really, true love and true commitment to somebody only comes out of a choice. You cannot truly love somebody, force somebody to love you. But a person can choose to love you. They can choose to be,
Because that's when
follow
it's
you.
real.
Huh?
that's when it's real.
And I
They're
think,
like little robots.
Right.
that Just, his little playthings.
And like I said,
you know,
don't
like
take that
you
wrong,
see.
I'm just
Yeah.
wrapping my head. around
it's hard, it's a hard thing to really grasp how this all came about and the purposes of a lot of this. And some of the things we may understand and some of them we don't. But having the
Without that being
choice.
said, I know that his will and everything that he did was perfect and
Mhm.
good.
Mhm. But he created Adam out of the dirt to work the dirt, to eat from the dirt, to live on the earth,
I was thinking when you were saying that about the work in the garden and stuff, how when we worked hard or had a constructive day and it's went well and worked, how good, what it does for your character, you know, what it does for your character and how good you feel. So maybe, you know, you have to, he was building us. He was building us while we have to do these things, he's building us.
Mhm. Work and productive work is what we were created to do. We are created to be productive, and we are connected to this earth. There is an interdependence. The earth needs us, and we need the earth. We're dependent on each other, but yet we have dominion over the earth. We are to manage it. It is not equal to us. Animals are not equal to us, but yet we are to be good stewards of them because God has put us here to be good managers. And he gave us the earth to manage, but yet he's also given us choices as to whether we will choose him or not. And, you know, he could have not done that. He could have created a bunch of perfect little people running around. But what pleasure would it not bring? It brings pleasure when you know somebody chooses to love you. So,
Don't you think too, though, that in addition to that, it also makes him happy to see us choose the right way as opposed to sinning. But then because we sin, and the things that happen because of sin bring him glory so that others can see
right.
him.
That there is a way that you can choose right, that you can choose, and that it is. We have choices, y'all. We like to blame other things, and I wouldn't have done that if she hadn't done it. I would have been a better person if so and so hadn't come along. We make choices. We make choices to do the right thing, or we make choices to do the wrong thing. But God actually, in his grace, continuing on with that, Michelle, in his grace, he has provided a way out. And it says in Revelation that the Lamb was crucified from the beginning of the world. From the very beginning, God knew and had a plan for this. It's not like he told them not to eat and they ate and he thought, oh no, now what am I going to do? They jumped the ship. He had a beginning. He knew from the beginning that he was going to have to do this. The Lamb crucified from the beginning of the world. There is a grace that comes along with giving somebody a choice. when you give somebody freedom, you've also got to know that they're not going to always do the right thing. And when they don't, we have to be able to use grace in that situation, just like he has. Those two trees, one being the tree of life, meaning as long as they ate from the tree of life, that they had eternal life. And once they chose evil, death came. Now, in Revelation, I think it's 22, I don't remember, 22:2, I think, there's a tree that is hidden and it's guarded by cherubim forever. Genesis will tell us this further, that we're not allowed to eat from. We'll never be able to, when sin comes, we can't eat from that tree of life anymore. And God has placed cherubim around that tree that's no longer available to us. But in Revelation, when the new heaven and the new earth come, we will be able to eat of that tree of life because we will live eternally with him. That tree is still in existence. But the tree of knowledge, we'll talk about that later in the fall, but just knowing that there's these two trees. So Genesis 2:18, the Lord God said, what does he say?
Good for man to be alone.
Everything else he has said up until this point, and it just occurred to me, I think this is the first time I've ever thought about this studying. Everything else he has done, he has said, it is good. It is very good. It is good, good. But what is not good? The man to be alone. It is not good for man to be alone. I heard a very interesting thing this week. And I'm not saying this is, I don't even know if this is true or not, but it in my sensibilities, I thought that this is right. When you take when you take women that are alone tend to come together in a group. We're going to have a Sunday school class, and it's going to be for women who are single, or women who come to church by themselves or whatever. We're going to have a group, and then we're going to encourage each other, and we're going to take a trip, and we're going to love each other and do all kinds of things. But if you take a man who's alone, what does he do? He becomes a recluse. Men who are alone tend to go inward. Men who are alone tend to be hermits. Women can come together and encourage and love, and we can help each other. You never see a Sunday school group for single men. We're going to start a book club for single men. This doesn't happen. Am I looking at this wrong? Can y'all think of an instance? If you're going to put a bunch of single men together, you got to pay them. You got to pay them millions of dollars and give them a ball. And let them run up and down. You see what I'm saying? They're got to be paid, huh?
Men that are married, they say that's why men who have been married and lose their wives or divorced or whatever, usually they remarry within a very short time because they've gotten that closeness with another person and they want that.
It's not good for them. They don't do good. Men do not do good alone. If you take a bunch of single boys that have no purpose, they're going to destroy something. They're going to trouble and double trouble. You got to have supervision when you've got single boys. When you got two boys running around, you got two girls, they'll play perfect. They'll color, they'll do Play-Doh, they'll do dress up. You got two boys, they'll be in the floor fighting, and before you know it, somebody's crying and something's broke. Now that was my summer. You get two boys don't do good alone. Men do not do good alone, and God says it from the very beginning.
I know when my mom passed away, my dad, they had been together, since she was like 13, 14. She cut his hair. When we went shopping, my daddy went. They were always, so at the hips. When she passed away, he was beside himself. mean, he's like, what am I doing? You know, she cut my, I mean, she did everything. You know, she cut my hair. I've never been wrong. I've never, you know, and so, yeah, within a year, I asked him to wait a year. 1 year and 10 days, he was married again.
They just don't do good. And God says that from the beginning. But this is something else I noticed. So in verse 18, it says, I will make a helper. What's wrong?
Nothing.
You crying?
No, I'm just thinking about my dad.
Oh. It's true. It's God made men to have a helper.
Yeah, my stepdad married my mama less than a year after his wife died.
Daddy didn't do that. He did everything in threes. 3 years after my mom died, and then divorced 3 years later, and then married 3 years later. And so I thought it'd only be 3 years with this stepmom, but it's been 33 years, I think.
It looks a long time.
You know,
Was it?
it's hard, and men and young boys too, we see now. This is, and I'm gonna take a step out here. This is why it's dangerous for young boys to isolate. Young boys and boys need to have adventure. They need to get out. They need to do things, because boys that are alone will turn inward.
I heard a very interesting conversation at the senior center the other day. Before our class, I work out in the weight room, and usually it's me and 3 or 4 in their 80s men. But and usually I'm talking with them too, but the other day, these 3 men were in there, and one of them said something about, you know, his wife, how he had to mind her or something, you know. He was just making a joke, and another one started talking about losing his wife. And he said, I'm telling you, he said, you better cherish every minute with your wife and be good to them and treat them like they need to be treated, because he said, you have no idea how hard it's going to be if you lose her. And I felt so bad for him, because you don't hear men have conversations like that.
Right.
Like you were saying, they don't normally share their feelings. But you know, I thought that was really, really interesting for one thing, that I really.
And those of you who have lost your husbands, you were able to kind of pick up and able to kind of, okay, the grass still got to be cut. You know, I still got to go forward. I still got to do what I got to do. I'm going to continue on. A man will sit there and think, how do I make my coffee?
That makes me think.
Where's the washing machine?
Rebecca and I had said that Miss Wade worked herself to death for a solid year, didn't she? For a solid year.
Well, you have to occupy. You do. You have to go on. So you got to do something to occupy your mind to keep from dwelling on negative things. You know.
And men that lose their wives, like Michelle and Marisa have said, it is a stopping in your tracks situation. So we're different, and we were made to be helpers. And on my blog, I have a thing that I have looked at. Let me see if I can find it. I have here, if you can read this later, it says that the reason why the pre-fall headship, this is on my blog, Adam was created first. Adam was given the garden mandate. Woman was created from the man. Woman was created for man. Woman is a gift to man. Adam named the woman. Man is to initiate marriage. Man and woman picture Christ and the church in their sinless beginning. The post-fall headship of man makes New Testament theology nonsensical, and we are damned and we are saved by male headship. You can go back and read into that, but Adam was created first. He was, and it was not good for him to be alone. So God created a woman for the man. He could have created man and woman at the same time and said, here, y'all go do this. But that's not the order he chose to do it in, because what does it say in verse 19 that God did after he said it is not good for man to be alone?
He formed the beast of pure.
Yeah. He created these animals, and he sent them by Adam for Adam to name the animals. After he had just said it's not good for man to be alone, he doesn't immediately create Eve. That was a weird turn of events right there. I didn't really think that through up until now. But he did not immediately create her once he said, you need a helper. Let me give you a helper. He immediately gave Adam the job of naming the animals before Eve ever got here. And maybe that was the last job that needed to be done before she came to the earth. I don't know. That's anybody got any ideas?
He couldn't think of them.
Huh?
He couldn't think of the names and stuff.
That's why I thought
She
they would have been arguing on that.
God,
He said, well, I can't think of no more names.
Yeah,
He's gonna say, no,
Everybody
we're not
named
going
it then, so why didn't he wait till the woman was created to name the animals? I'm just saying.
I know, it would have made a lot more sense because she would have remembered them and should have wrote it down. And when he called it the wrong name,
Organized it.
Exactly.
And she said, no.
when he called that a wrong name,
Yeah,
it would have been,
that's not a good name.
he'd been sleeping outside.
Yeah.
But one thing, when God created the animals, we talked about the breath. God does not breathe breath into these animals. He breathed his breath into man. We have the living breath living in us. We have a spirit.
So,
Once he saw all these animals come by, do you think I'm asking, anytime in purple I have up here, that's a question to myself. Animals were not meant to take the place of human relationships.
Do you think we'll have animals in heaven? I'm just thinking.
There's gonna be a lot.
I gotta know that my dog is in heaven.
I don't know, Marisa. I'm not gonna say because I don't know.
Inherently, animals don't.
You can satisfy
Well,
yourself.
I'll just say yes, and when I get there,
God wants animals there, they're all
Yeah.
good.
Well, I think he created them. Why wouldn't they be there? I mean, it was good. Yeah.
But we have to remind her we have dominion over them. And so when they're there, you know, we could have a you know, we could have animals there just like we do here.
They don't have a soul.
But they do not, God did not breathe his spirit into
How
them.
are they gonna be there? I would like to think that they're
Revelation say though that there will be.
The lion will lay down with the lamb.
Lion will lay down with the lamb. So if that's the case,
I think though,
They're in heaven, but he's already created those for us when we get there.
I think that we have to, in this event here, we have to see, and I don't want to cross any lines here, but I want us to really realize that these animals that live there and live here, they are not meant to replace a relationship that we have with human beings. And I watch this guy that I was watching, he is over a Celebrate Recovery. And a lot of people want to, and don't take this wrong what I'm about to say. He's made this statement and it made me think. I'm not saying that he's right, I'm just thinking. He made a comment in Celebrate Recovery, no support animals. God did not create animals for us to have a supportive relationship with an animal. He created humans for that.
you know,
And it's complicated.
Yes.
It's a complicated relationship. But we see in this lineup of how God created things that God said, it's not good, I will make a helper. The animals were not meant to be the helper.
If the animals were enough,
He wouldn't have created these.
he wouldn't have created them.
I know that's hard. And it's hard for me because we love our animals. We love them. They bring us pleasure. We love them. We are bonded to them. They are, they give us affection. We give them affection. They give us affection. But I think I like how you put that. We have to make sure that we have relationships that are supportive with people. And people are hard and people are complicated.
Well,
And that's where
don't anybody take this the wrong way, but anybody who knows me or talks to me every day, I just say it. I don't think you need to get in a position where you care more about an animal than you do human life. I mean, you've got people that would walk 2 miles on the side of the road to get a puppy, but would you do that for a hurt woman or a man laying there or somebody stranded? I don't think we're supposed to. It's not meant to replace.
It's a complicated relationship here it's a complicated relationship with human beings and with animals. And Genesis, in the beginning, is the way we define that relationship, and it's hard.
But when you're talking about something like service animals, okay, service related, you're talking about a person that usually has PTSD, cannot deal with humans, that's part of the problem. They get, every place exposes them. They go to church, they can't sit at a place where there's walls on their back. Most churches are not designed that way, they're designed very open plan and all. So when you're talking about service animals, the relationship I think is a little different. It's more to guide them through things and to help them know when somebody is nearby them and to help them cope with that part.
Or if you have an animal that leads a blind man, we're talking about something on the total. That animal is providing a service, like you're saying. It is, but
And that's why those types I love animals. Everybody knows that about me. I love animals. I'm not going to go 200 miles and go through that. But I don't believe that they go over a life of a human being.
But there's groups out there too that got bit
But
by
yeah,
a cat.
service
Had
animals.
ended up in the hospital. And
And
so when she come back home, somebody came to her door and they said, we're just checking about the cat bite. She said, oh, I'm fine. He said, no, I'm checking on the cat. I need to see that cat, make sure the cat was not hurt.
we've got to really make, and I know this is a hard place because it's a complicated relationship. But God in this first 2 chapters of Genesis has defined the relationship. And we want to make sure that we honor Him in those relationships that we have with people and that we have with His creation. The animals are just as valuable as a tree. They're valuable. He created them for a purpose. They're not to be harmed. They're not to be hurt. They're to be anything. So, next week we'll go into the suitable helper. But Lord, we come before you this morning, and God, some things are hard to understand, and this is one of them. And help us to just discern it correctly. Give us guidance from your Holy Spirit that we will see that everything you created was good. And in your wisdom, you created it in order. And we need to walk in that order, Lord, and to have that balance. Help us to have balance We thank you again for each lady that's here. I pray your blessings over them, Lord. I pray that you would wrap them in your grace and love this week. I pray that you will be with the ones we mentioned earlier. Be with Crystal, Lord. Give her the knowledge she needs as she faces situations. We praise you and we love you and we honor you, and we pray it all and ask it in Jesus' sweet name. Amen.